Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
On January 20th, 2026, a very unexpected event took place. United States President Donald Trump posted a strong message on his social media platform, Truth Social. President Trump openly criticized a new deal about the Chagos Islands. He described this deal as an act of total weakness and called it great stupidity. This statement was very surprising. Just a few months earlier, in May 2025, President Trump's own team had supported this same deal. His Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, had publicly praised it as a monumental achievement. This sudden and dramatic change of mind from President Trump created a big question. Why did he change his view so quickly? This unexpected event put a remote group of islands, the Chagos Archipelago, right at the center of international attention. Most people had never heard of these islands, yet they hold great importance. The discussion around them touches upon who owns land, major military plans, and the strong friendship between America and its European friends. To understand President Trump's shocking change, we must first go on a journey. We need to travel to the heart of the Indian Ocean, to these islands. There, we will discover their secret history. This hidden story will show why these small islands are so incredibly vital to the world's biggest and most powerful countries. 2. The important islands. The Chagos Archipelago is a group of more than 60 islands in the Indian Ocean. It is far from other lands, about 1,000 miles south of India. These islands have an extremely important position for military strategy. One island, Diego Garcia, is the most vital. It is often called the unsinkable aircraft carrier, or the Malta of the Indian Ocean. Diego Garcia is a perfect place for a military base. It has a great deep water harbor that can hold large naval ships and even nuclear submarines. The island also has a very long runway, 12,000 feet, which can handle the biggest military planes. These include B-2 stealth bombers and B-1 strategic bombers. Its location is good because it is equally far from the Middle East, East Africa, South Asia, and Southeast Asia. The military base on Diego Garcia is used by both the United Kingdom and the United States, but the U.S. mostly controls it. Around 4,000 military people and workers are there. Since the Gulf War in 1990-91, this base has been vital for almost every main U.S. military action in the region. It helped in the war against Afghanistan after the September 11 attacks and in the Iraq War. More recently, it was used for actions against Houthi rebels in Yemen. It is clear that this tiny island is very powerful for military operations. But a big question remains. How did the United States and the United Kingdom come to control such a valuable piece of land?
Now that we understand why this small island is so critical for a superpower, we will uncover the shocking and sad human cost of getting it. Many people have called this forced removal a crime against humanity. 3. A sad history. The British government made a big claim about the Chagos Islands. They said the islands had no permanent population. They called the people living there temporary workers, but this was not true. A secret government paper from 1968 showed the British knew the truth. It admitted there was a local population living there. The Chagosians were real people. They had lived on these Indian Ocean islands for many generations. They had their own unique culture. They spoke a special language called Creole. Their communities had about 1,500 to 2,000 people. They worked on coconut farms and lived on islands like Diego Garcia, Peros Baños, and the Solomon Islands. These were their ancestral homes. In 1965, Britain separated the Chagos Archipelago from Mauritius. This was to build a large United States military base. From 1968 to 1973, the British government forced all Chagosians to leave. They got little warning, sometimes only hours. They were put on ships. Many left their belongings behind. Their homes were taken over. To make them leave faster, a very sad order was given. British officials told people to kill the Chagosians' pet dogs. This was a cruel way to pressure them. The families moved mainly to Mauritius and the Seychelles. They found themselves in new places, often with no jobs or money. They faced poverty and deep sadness from losing their homeland. Human rights groups have called this forced removal a very serious wrong. But the Chagosians would not let their story be forgotten. They refused to accept what happened. They decided to fight for their rights and their home. This would start a long legal battle against the United Kingdom. The fight would last for decades and reach the world's highest courts. 4. The Long Fight. The Chagosian people and the country of Mauritius began a very long fight for justice. It was like a small group fighting a giant, trying to win against a much bigger power. They wanted their islands back from the United Kingdom. First, the Chagosians tried to win in British courts. In 2000, a British court said the rule that stopped them from living on the islands was unlawful. This was a small victory. But later, other British courts, like the House of Lords in 2008, said the Chagosians could not return home. These were sad setbacks for the islanders. Mauritius then took the fight to international courts. This was a big step, seeking help from the world's legal system. In 2019, the International Court of Justice, or ICJ, gave an important advisory opinion.
This court is one of the world's highest legal bodies. The ICJ stated that the United Kingdom's continued control of the Chagos Islands was a wrongful act. This meant the control was not legally right. The court advised that Britain should end its rule very quickly. Only one judge, from the United States, disagreed. After the ICJ's opinion, the United Nations General Assembly adopted a resolution. Many countries supported the ICJ's view. 116 countries voted for the UK to give up the islands. Only 6 countries, including the UK and the US, voted against it. 56 countries did not vote. This strong vote showed that most of the world agreed with the ICJ's decision. With international law and so many countries condemning its position, the United Kingdom faced great pressure. How could Britain possibly justify holding on to the islands now? It became very hard to find a good reason. Because of this, Britain was forced to talk with Mauritius. These important discussions began in 2022 and lasted for over 2 years. They finally reached a historic agreement in 2025. This new deal seemed to be a perfect solution for everyone involved. But its collapse was just around the corner. 5. A new deal. In 2025, the United Kingdom and Mauritius signed a big agreement. This deal aimed to end the long dispute over the Chagos Islands.
It was seen as a very smart plan to fix legal, strategic, and human problems. The main part of the deal was about ownership. Mauritius would get full sovereignty over the entire Chagos archipelago, including Diego Garcia. In return, the United Kingdom and the United States would keep using the military base on Diego Garcia. They secured a new lease for 99 years. This lease could be extended for many more decades, ensuring the base stayed open for a very long time. The agreement also included money. Britain would give Mauritius millions of pounds each year. A special trust fund of £40 million was set up for Chagosians who were removed from their homes. Mauritius was also allowed to help Chagosians return to some of the outer islands, but not to Diego Garcia itself. This deal was a careful compromise. It addressed past legal issues and secured the important military base. It also offered help to the Chagosian people, who had suffered for many years. Many countries supported this. The United States government welcomed the deal, saying it would secure the base's long-term operations. Secretary of State Marco Rubio called it a monumental achievement. President Donald Trump himself showed strong support in early 2025, even formally approving the agreement. Key allies like Canada, Australia, and India also endorsed the plan. Everyone thought the controversy was finally over.
However, no one could have predicted the political bombshell that was about to come from the White House. For many months, the new agreement about the Chagos Islands had strong support. The United States government, Britain's closest friend, welcomed the deal. Secretary of State Marco Rubio had called it a monumental achievement. President Donald Trump himself had also given his clear approval. In February 2025, he met with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer at the White House. During that meeting, President Trump showed his backing for the deal. By April, he had formally approved the agreement. Other allied nations like Canada, Australia, and India also agreed with the plan. Everyone believed the long dispute was finally over. The deal seemed set, ensuring the important Diego Garcia base would stay under UK and US control for many years. However, on January 20, 2026, everything changed. Early in the morning, President Donald Trump made a surprising statement. He wrote on his social media platform, Truth Social. His words were a strong attack on the Chagos Islands deal. He called Britain's decision an act of total weakness and great stupidity. This was a big change from his earlier support. His statement shocked diplomats and leaders around the world. Many people could not understand this sudden reversal. But at the same time, President Trump was also busy with another big plan. He was trying hard to buy Greenland from Denmark. He believed the United States needed to own Greenland for national security reasons. He worried about China and Russia expanding their power in the Arctic region. He also talked about Greenland's valuable minerals and its good place for missile defense. President Trump clearly linked the two issues. He said that Britain's choice to transfer the Chagos Islands showed weakness. He said this was another in a very long line of national security reasons why Greenland has to be acquired. He argued that China and Russia would see this weakness. He claimed the UK was planning to give away the island of Diego Garcia, the site of a vital US military base, to Mauritius, and to do so for no reason whatsoever. He seemed to use the Chagos deal to support his own idea that strong countries must keep strategic land. He had even threatened Denmark with tariffs if they did not sell Greenland. This unexpected attack from President Trump created a lot of trouble for the UK government. Their closest friend had suddenly become a strong critic. President Trump had turned the Chagos deal into a piece in his big game over Greenland. The government in Britain was now in a difficult situation. They had to quickly figure out how to respond. 7. The UK reacts. When President Donald Trump shared his strong words about the Chagos Islands deal, there was a rush of activity in London.
Inside the UK Prime Minister's office, everyone worked quickly. They had to think of a way to respond to this sudden attack from their closest ally, the United States. The situation was very urgent. The UK government quickly made a public statement to explain its actions. They said the deal was very important and legally needed to protect the country's security. They argued that without this agreement, the vital military base on Diego Garcia could have been in danger. Previous court decisions had weakened Britain's legal position over the islands. So, by making this deal, the government believed they were ensuring the base could keep operating safely and effectively for many generations. Minister Stephen Dowdy even said he was surprised by President Trump's change of mind, as the U.S. had supported the deal before. Prime Minister Keir Starmer asked for calm discussion between allies to solve any disagreements. However, many people in the UK's opposition parties did not agree. They used President Trump's strong words to criticize the government. Kemi Badenoch, a leader from the Conservative Party, quickly said that President Trump was right. She called the deal a terrible policy that would weaken the UK's security and give away British land. Another important politician, Priti Patel, described the agreement as a shameful surrender.
These critics worried about Mauritius's growing relationship with China and the large amount of money, billions of pounds, that the deal would cost British taxpayers. Nigel Farage, another well-known politician, even claimed that Trump had vetoed the deal, showing how much political weight Trump's words carried. This pressure from both the United States and from powerful political rivals at home made the UK government very uncomfortable. They were on the defensive. Because of this immense pressure, the government had to make a difficult choice. A very important vote in Parliament about the new treaty was planned for January 27, 2026. This vote was needed to make the deal official, but the government decided to stop it. They announced that they would postpone the vote for a while, hoping to ease the tensions. Now, the future of the entire Chagos Islands agreement was very uncertain. It seemed to hang by a thin thread, and no one knew what would happen next. In all this fast-moving political storm, one group's tragic story was almost completely forgotten. These were the Chagosians themselves, the people who had been forced to leave their homes on the islands many years ago. Their voices were once again unheard in the big political fight. 8. What happens next? The future of the Chagos Islands Agreement is still unclear. The deal was supposed to solve many problems, but it faces big challenges.
The treaty needs approval from lawmakers in both the United Kingdom and Mauritius. President Donald Trump's unexpected criticism has created political difficulties, which might cause delays. At the heart of the story are the Chagosian people. They were forced to leave their homes many years ago. The New Deal lets some return to Outer Highlands, but not to Diego Garcia. This is where most of them lived. The United Nations Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination said this deal continues to harm the Chagosians' rights. UN human rights experts also said the agreement might go against the Chagosians' right to return to their homes, especially to Diego Garcia, because of the military base. Their voices, sadly, are often not heard in these big decisions. This issue is also about global power. China's growing presence in the Indo-Pacific region is a concern for many countries, including the United States and the United Kingdom. Mauritius has links with China, which makes some worry about security near the base. However, others say that having a strong legal deal for the base helps keep the region stable and prevents China from gaining too much power. India also supports the deal. India has close ties with the United States and worries about China's growing navy in the Indian Ocean. India believes this agreement helps balance power and solve a past colonial issue. If the deal does not go through, there could be problems.
Britain might try to keep control of the islands, but this would go against international law and hurt its image. Mauritius could take Britain to court again, which might force Britain to leave completely and stop the base from working. If the deal is approved, Mauritius will get its land back, and the US and UK will keep the important military base for a long time. But for the Chagosians, full justice will still be far away. This story teaches us important lessons. It shows the fight between what is right by law and what countries see as important for their safety. It also shows how past colonial actions still affect people today. Most importantly, it reminds us that when big countries make plans, the lives and rights of smaller groups often get pushed aside. What do you think will happen next for the Chagos Islands and its people?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.